Well, hey guys. Recently I stumbled on a video where a woman asked white people a whole bunch of racist and stereotypical questions. She's an ignorant reject that doesn't think anyone can be racist towards white people. I would normally leave this alone, but unfortunately it isn't just this one person that believes that. There are plenty more. I'm here to shove her self-righteous indignation back up her stupid ass and let her know why she's wrong. About everything.
Hey guys, it's me, Saren, back with another video.
Hey there, Surin. That's a nice name, but I think you look more like a Tiffany. Glad you're doing another video, Tiffany.
So, a lot of people have been asking me if I was going to do a response to BuzzFeed's 27 questions that black people have for black people. Um, that video was super racist, as we all know, and we also all pretty much know that the video was basically 27 questions that white people have for black people but are afraid to ask.
I personally think the title should have been 27 Questions BuzzFeed Has for Insert Demographic Here because all we do is perpetuate stereotypes and make clickbait videos that bank on public dissension and create more animosity towards white people. It's kinda long though, but continue.
So this video is going to be 27 questions that black people have for white people. I was originally going to get white people to ask, but I don't really know any.
Oh good. Since you don't know any white people, I bet this video will be full to the brim of relevant and unbiased questions, and definitely not baseless stereotypes that you picked up in your black diaspora class. Anyway, let's listen to some of Tiffany's questions, shall we?
Why do white people hate immigrants when you guys immigrated here from Europe?
Why do you assume all white people hate immigrants? I mean, if you want to be technical, the first modern humans all came from Africa and scattered in various regions of the world some 10,000s of years ago. We're all African.
When are you going to go back home?
I see what you're doing here. That's funny. We'll be here a minute. Anyway, you're bitching about being dragged here. What's keeping you?
Why don't all white men apologize for mass shooters and serial killers? You know, like 80% of them are white males, right?
That's a fascinating claim. Let's rip it to shreds. Keep in mind, serial murder only accounts for 1% of all homicide. That being said, according to the Radford University Serial Killer Database, between 1990 and 2015, only 38% of serial killers were actually white, and 7% of those were female. Crazy. Let's dig even deeper. According to these FBI statistics, in 2012, white men committed 4,582 murders and black men committed 5,531. This is in light of the fact that whites and blacks make up 77% and 13% of the population respectively. Remember this information because you're about to be butt-fucked with the truth. Now, let's discuss mass murder. Fortunately for people that hate believing blind propaganda, USA Today has a tool that allows you to go through every single mass murder since 2006 with no details spared. It's quite impressive. According to this chart created using the information, white people make up 39% of all mass murder in the US, and black people make up 38.4. What does this mean? Well, if you remember the population makeup I showed you earlier, it means that they are almost completely equal even though there are 6 times as many white people. Ouch. So how should we approach this? A. Get pissed off and throw racial slurs at each other. B. Demand an apology from all black people. Or C. Acknowledge that murder is terrible regardless of who commits it and then shut the fuck up.
Why don't white people season their food?
I took some chicken.
Yeah.
I put some cheese on it. Then I covered it with
Covered it with what?
I covered it with cat treats.
Yeah.
Then guess what?
What?
I gave it to the cat.
Why do white people believe that structural and institutionalized racism doesn't exist? You guys know these concepts have been proven, right?
This is actually great. I mean, you did your research and you have all your sources cited, but the only problem is that none of it is actually substantial evidence. You've got articles from things like the Huffington Post and Vice, and some of it literally says opinion in the URL. I mean, I did check the link you left as citation, but believe it or not, it's just more bullshit propaganda. It explains what the ideas are, but like every weapon in the social justice warrior's arsenal, it relies solely on the bandwagon fallacy for validation. Give me some actual proof.
What is reverse racism?
You know, that's a really good question. What is reverse racism? People, stop throwing around the term reverse racism. It doesn't exist. For example, this woman is not being reverse racist. She's just fucking racist. Call it for what it is.
Why do white people think mayo is a slur?
I have often wondered that myself, but I could never come to any conclusions. Let's look at the phrase in context. Mayo demon, mayo faggots, nasty mayo cracker, mayo sandwich whitey, mayo man, mayo clump, mayo bro, mayo white crusty twink, mayo as hell, mayo white devils, mayo on white with the crust cut off, mayo pale cracker white bullshit, mayo colored people, mayo inbreds, mayo filled wannabe black, shitty mayo trash, mayo filled countries with pasty ass white shits, racist mayo, crusty old mayo, stuck up mayo bitch, white mayo powder cream bitch, bitch ass mayo, racist ass mayo bitch, mayo queen. Yeah, still nothing.
Why are white people always threatening to kill their parents and then, like, actually going through with it?
This is a stupid question. I mean, if you knew who your father was, you wouldn't have to ask.
Why do white people get so angry when others point out white privilege? I mean, you guys do have a 300-year head start on everyone else. Just saying.
Because it's bullshit. It isn't white or black privilege. It isn't male or female privilege. It's not about your race or your gender. It's about your money. And it's about your education. It's money and education privilege. The fact of the matter is, whether you want to believe it or not, a poor white man has more in common with a poor black man than he does a rich white man. I don't see how it's so difficult to understand each other. Look, Jimmy, it's a male African American. Let's go say hi. Well, hey there, fellas. Jimmy, I think he's trying to tell us something.
You think so?
Jimmy, he's trying to freestyle. Quick, drop a beat. Well, I'll see you folks later.
Why aren't white people called welfare queens? You guys know you're the main recipients of welfare, right?
Does this look familiar? It should. It's the Huffington Post article you cited for this information. Wow, absolutely staggering. White people make up 40% of recipients and black people only make up 25%. You were right. Oh. Except that means that 13% of the population is using almost as much aid as 77%. Ooh.
Why don't white people have rhythm? Like, can you not hear the beat? It's very strange, very confusing.
Why can't black people read? I mean, it's just words on paper. You see how the straw man goes nowhere? Culture is more influential than race involving these types of issues.
Why do white people think affirmative action is racist? The number one beneficiaries of affirmative action are white women.
In theory, it's a great idea. The problem is that in practice, it has a good potential to favor underqualified individuals. And before you chime in with, oh, so women and minorities are underqualified? Duh, that's exactly what I'm saying. Come at me, Tiffany.
Why do white people want to say the N-word so bad?
You say want like white people don't have the ability. As much as you'd like to be, you aren't the word police. If someone wants to say it, they're going to. Most just choose not to.
Why do white people keep saying they're losing the country?
Do they? I mean, as time goes on, white people are becoming less of the majority, but that's what happens in a country with so many races living together.
If you're losing, who's winning?
We're all losing. You haven't noticed that most Americans are indentured servants?
Why are white people always renaming things?
I don't know, Tiffany. I really don't know.
What are boxer braids?
No idea.
Why do white people insist that culture belongs to everyone?
You're fashioning this around the mindset that white culture is one that steals from all other cultures. First of all, sweetheart, white people are English, Irish, Danish, Polish, Norwegian, Italian, French, and many others, all with their own culture. White is not a culture in America, it is simply the cultural majority. So for the most part, everyone follows the same traditions living in America in addition to their own cultural values. Also, I think you fail to distinguish between cultural appropriation and cultural assimilation, which is when cultures of ethnic minorities fuse and become part of the majority. This has nothing to do with white people and everything to do with America being a melting pot. Of course, you're probably talking about something stupid like white people twerking or fucking afros.
Why do white people love doing indie covers of rap songs?
Because taking songs and recreating them is something everyone can appreciate, especially when it's two things that aren't usually combined, like metal and pop music.
And why will said indie covers then get played on radio stations and in shops that would never play rap music?
Because it's no longer rap music?
Why don't white people understand that saying all lives matter as a response to Black Lives Matter is redundant? All means every life, including black ones.
Are you unaware of what it is that you're asking? Or maybe you just missed the point. All lives matter means to say that you shouldn't be exclusive when it comes to appraising the life of another human being. Regardless, it's only natural to want to undermine Black Lives Matter. It's nothing but a radical black supremacist group that breaks every imaginable law during protests and celebrates cop killing.
Don't all cancers matter, not just breast cancer? Don't all forests matter, not just the rainforest? Shouldn't we be trying to save all sea creatures, not just the whales?
No, because as humans, we fucked whales up. The same with the rainforests. As far as cancer goes, your Black Lives Matter is saying that only breast cancer matters.
Why do white people like to pretend that slavery wasn't so bad? They had food and shelter. They were also, enslaved.
It's not that we don't think slavery was bad, because it obviously was. It's the fact that it was a long time ago, no one who was involved is even alive today, and some of you guys are trying to beat the shit out of it like it's a piñata that's going to explode into a shower of food stamps. Since there's no other way I can really explain it to you, let's consult the Are You an African Slave in America flowchart. Alright, Tiffany, we will solve for your situation. Are you, or were you, an African slave in America? We will assume that you don't know. Are you at least 150 years old? If you answered no, then you were not a slave. Please proceed. Are you bitching? If you answered yes, then the next step is to shut the fuck up. Thanks for keeping the past in the past. I'm glad we can be friends.
Why do white people love to say that race doesn't matter when you made up the concept of race and race-based chattel slavery?
Yes, we made up the concept of race. We did, with our median age of 36 years old. Race was invented by me 36 years ago. I swear, you are too fucking stupid to breathe. When people say it doesn't matter, it's because it doesn't matter. It only matters to you because you have a persecution complex from hell and want everything handed to you. Fuck you. Anyway, the slave trade was pioneered in Africa, first of all. White people didn't go, hey, let's hit up Africa and go kidnap some black people. They were already enslaved. This whole debate is stupid, though, because nearly every nation in the world was built on slavery. Every single race has been fit to be someone else's property since the dawn of time. The Code of Hammurabi in Babylonia has slavery laws written into it. This is one of the earliest records of structured slavery in the world. By the way, Tiffany, the Mesopotamians were black, ultimately making black people some of the earliest slave owners. Weird. Anyway, it's important to keep in mind that gene pools spread out, so unless everyone in your family is banging his or her brother or sister, which would explain how you personally came about, it means that your ancestors could have owned mine and mine could have owned yours. Each and every one of us is ultimately descended from kings, queens, murderers, martyrs, slaves, and slave owners.
And the last question, why is whitewashing still a thing? Scarlett Johansson.
Most white people have no involvement with Hollywood, but the incident you're referring to isn't because they want a white woman playing the lead, it's because they want Scarlett Johansson playing the lead. In recent years, everything the woman has touched has turned into a box office hit, and they are banking on it. It would be stupid for them as a business to not utilize her talent. Don't forget, this is a Ghost in the Shell adaptation we're talking about. Putting a random person in the lead role would be like casting Macaulay Culkin as Tony Stark in the Avengers.
This has been 27 questions that black people have for white people.
Anyway, guys, this has been 27 questions a racist twat has for white people because equality. Now, if a black person asks you any of these questions, you will know how to respond. Thanks for watching.